Washington, D.C. was unusually overcast that morning, as if the clouds themselves were bracing for the verbal storm that was about to sweep across the Capitol. In a packed studio of Capitol Sphere News, the countdown to the most anticipated live political debate of the year had begun. Karoline Leavitt, a fast-rising political strategist and former Trump White House assistant press secretary, had been booked as a special guest to respond to a recent public address by former President Barack Obama. The address, delivered at a prestigious university a week prior, had drawn national attention. In it, Obama had called for a return to reason, warning about radical voices in politics who, he said, were endangering the integrity of American democracy. Leavitt, never one to shrink from the spotlight, had responded online with a single word: challenge accepted. By the time she stepped into the studio, the energy in the room was electric. She wore a confident look and a navy blue blazer that signaled seriousness, not showmanship. Across from her sat veteran journalist Rebecca Lane, known for her pointed questions and unflinching demeanor. "Karoline," Rebecca began, "you've drawn a lot of attention for your response to President Obama's remarks. Many saw his speech as a call for unity. Why did you interpret it as a challenge?" Leavitt smiled, calmly but firmly. "Because it wasn't a call for unity. It was a veiled attempt to delegitimize half the country. President Obama may be charismatic, but he cloaks political attacks in poetic language. When he says, radical voices, he's talking about people like me, who dare to question the establishment, who refuse to apologize for loving this country as it was founded." The studio went quiet for a beat. Then Rebecca pushed forward. "But isn't there a concern," she asked, "that this kind of rhetoric deepens division?" Leavitt leaned forward. Respectfully, division didn't start with people asking questions. Division started when the media, academia, and legacy political figures decided that certain viewpoints were unacceptable. When Obama speaks about threats to democracy, he's not talking about actual threats, he's talking about dissent. The interview quickly went viral as it was broadcast live. Within minutes, the hashtag #GlovesOffLeavitt was trending on X, formerly Twitter. But it wasn't until later that night, when Leavitt appeared on a nationally syndicated panel discussion, that the metaphorical shutdown moment occurred. On that panel was none other than Daniel Rawlins, a close political ally of Barack Obama and former White House policy advisor. He came prepared with excerpts from Obama's speech, ready to counter Leavitt's assertions. "Karoline," he said, turning toward her with a mixture of charm and confrontation, "you're accusing President Obama of suppressing dissent, but you're on national television, criticizing him freely. Isn't that proof that your speech is alive and well?" Leavitt didn't blink. "Daniel," she began, "I'm on television now, but what happens after this? Social media throttles conservative voices. My peers are blacklisted from speaking engagements. This is not freedom, it's permission speech. And when a former president stands at a podium to label political opponents as dangerous, he's giving the green light for institutions to silence them. He doesn't need to pass a law, he just needs to shift public sentiment. That's how soft power works." Daniel raised an eyebrow. "So, are you saying the former president is using propaganda?" "I'm saying he's using influence," she replied. "Let's call it what it is. It's not about protecting democracy. It's about preserving control." The moment resonated, sharp, direct, and delivered without theatrics. It was clipped, memed, and broadcast across the internet within hours. Even mainstream outlets that often dismissed Leavitt's side of the aisle took notice. The next morning, headlines read, "Leavitt strikes back, sharp critique of Obama echoes across political divide. Conservatives hail Leavitt's defense of free speech in fiery debate. Young GOP star sets tone for 2026 with bold stand on media power." In private, Leavitt was reflective. She knew the media buzz would fade, but the questions she raised would not. Her phone buzzed non-stop with text messages, from supporters, critics, and reporters all wanting a piece of her next statement. Sitting in her office, she looked out over the city skyline and thought about the crossroads America faced. She wasn't just trading jabs in a media cycle. She was carving out space for a generation of conservatives who felt dismissed, silenced, and labeled unfairly. Later that week, she was invited to speak at a town hall in Pennsylvania. The crowd was packed. Farmers, business owners, young college students, all eager to hear her speak. She walked onto the stage, not with bravado, but with clarity. "I don't come here tonight to bash anyone," she said. "I come here to defend the principles we all hold dear: free expression, fair representation, and the right to challenge those in power, no matter how eloquent they are." Applause thundered through the auditorium. "It doesn't matter if your name is Obama or Reagan," she continued. "No one is above being questioned. And no American is below being heard." The words echoed far beyond the room. They marked a shift, not just for Leavitt's own rising star, but for the broader political landscape. The gloves were off. But the message was clear. Debate wasn't dead. It had just been reborn.